Yeehaw, I got snake eyes.
I don't know how it's done happen.
Today we are building one of my favorite accidental vampire hunters, Guillermo de la Cruz, from FX's What We Do in the Shadows, based on the movie What We Do in the Shadows. The featured familiar of his master, Nando the Relentless, named that because he is relentless, and one of the only familiars to survive the Staten Island crew, unlike Topher, and June, and him, and her, and this guy. Guillermo is a sweet, soft marshmallow of a man who is also a descendant of Van Helsing, making him a great hunter of the undead and vampires alike. Our goals for this build are to have a vampire killer, brutally beating back blood-sucking bats. We also need to have a great support character, able to support our master with all his various needs. He's also very lovable, despite being pretty much despised in the universe. Guillermo has a very lovable and teddy bear aesthetic to him. But he's also very naive, thinking Nano's going to make him a vampire one day. We get 4 boosts to level 1, put them in the Strength, Wisdom, Constitution, and Charisma. Guillermo is a human, so we need to pick humans. We get 8 health, 25 base movement speed, 2 boosts, put them in the Wisdom, Charisma, and a Heritage. This is a bit of a stretch, so follow me on the path here. Ancestral Paragon, to get a first level Ancestry feat, then get Natural Skill from Human to get 2 skills to pick Deception and Survival. Deception to fool the virgins into thinking you're one of them, and Survival to actually go on the internet and find them. For background, it's difficult to find a good replacement for being a familiar to a vampire, but I think Servant works just as well, I think. We get 2 boosts, get Charisma and 1 in Wisdom. You get Trained in Society, because we live in a society, and the Labor Lore skill for, how to bring virgins into the house and how to wash blood out of the clothes, standard familiar stuff. You also get the ability to read lips, which is helpful for when vampires talk really low and in a whisper when Colin Robinson is around. And for class, I think without a doubt Guillermo is a cleric. Instead of something more thematic like a champion, is that Guillermo doesn't really have a tenet or a cause he really follows. He kind of just stumbles into being a vampire killer. And I would call the cleric path more perfect for the reluctant vampire slayer. And the cleric feats line up with how I would build a vampire killer in Pathfinder 2e. So if I make a Van Helsing build, I might go cleric. As a cleric, you're trained in perception, you're trained in reflex and fortitude, but you're an expert in will saves. You're trained in religion, and you're trained in one skill determined by your choice of deity. Spoiler alert, it's an intimidation. You're also trained in a number of additional skills equal to 2 plus your intelligence modifier. Pick athletics and occultism. Athletics, because Guillermo has a general spunkiness in combat, and he can maneuver around pretty quickly when he wants to. And occultism, because he's really into reading Anne Rice novels. I would consider that occult. You're trained in simple weapons, as well as being trained in the favorite weapon of your deity. Spoiler alert, the longsword. You're also trained in unarmed strikes. You're also untrained in all the armor, but your doctrine is going to change that. And you're also trained in unarmed defense. You're also trained in the divine spell attacks and the DCs as well. At the first level, we get to pick a deity, and Aomida, with the skills, intimidation, and the longsword for a weapon are that goddess's choice. I would pick that. Talk to your GM to see if Aomida is your goddess in the world. If not, pick the next best thing. I just picked those for the healing font as well as the longsword. So you can prepare only heal spells in these slots, and the slots are equal to 1 plus your charisma modifier, which is fine because Guillermo tends to pull out the cross when he's scared, and he doesn't really try to hurt people. He just tries to ward off vampires. And for our doctrine, I believe in Guillermo's heart of hearts that he is a warrior, so I'm going with the war priest. Guillermo is a pretty decent melee fighter and is able to hold his own against full-fledged vampires, even if his skills probably won't be on par with, say, Jon Snow. And for our ancestry feat at this level, pick Natural Ambition and get Healing Hands at the first level. To roll D10s instead of D8s when you roll it, which means you're going to be rolling pretty decent damage with a heal spell against a vampire. For the second level, pick Turn Undead for some classic cross-flashing pushback. When you use a heal spell to damage undead, if they're lower than your level, and it fails to save against it, it gains the fleeing condition for 1 round. So you're able to push vampires back with a cross-flash. For our skill feat, let's get Assurance with the Religion. To forego rolling a check, to instead take a result of 10 plus your proficiency bonus, which is going to get insane when we get to higher levels. At 3rd level, you get 2nd level spells. I say remove fear would be great to strengthen your resolve against fear effects, because vampires can be scary. And for our general feat, let's get toughness to increase our health by our level, which is good because Guillermo's a big, bulky boy. We also get our 2nd doctrine as level, and we get to be trained in all martial weapons, which is great when you just need to pick up a crossbow or swing around a mace if you need to attack somebody. We also get a skill increase, get religion up to expert. For our 4th level, get channel smite. Make a melee strike, and you get to add the spell's damage to the strike's damage. So, because we have the heal, when you make a melee strike, you can add your healing damage, which, let me tell you, is going to get pretty great when we get higher level spells. We also get a skill feat, so let's get assurance for occult to forego rolling a skill check, to instead get a 10 plus your proficiency bonus for occult skills. It's pretty good when you need to recall knowledge of Armand, being a vampire, and being the only Hispanic vampire. For our 5th level, we get 3rd level spells. I think Sanctified Ground would be great for protecting the home base from other vampires. We also get ability boost, so let's boost Strength, Constitution, Wisdom, and Charisma. Let's get Alertness. Your rank in Perception increases to Expert. Get Ancestry feat. Pick Sense Allies to sense allies within 60 feet of you, so they're just hidden instead of being completely gone. And as for our skill increases, get Occult up to Expert. For the 6th level spell, get Directed Channel. So when you cast a version of Harm or Heal in an area, you can choose to make it a 60-foot cone instead. Just really blast Holy Might in a single area. For our skill fields, get Student of the Canon. When you roll a critical failure on a religion check to decipher writing of religious nature or recall knowledge of your tenets of faith, you get a failure instead. And when you recall knowledge of your tenets of faith, if you roll a failure, you get a success. If you roll a success, you get a critical success. With our assurance, we should be getting at least successes or higher with this, which is great. For the 7th level, for our 4th level spell, I think we should get Holy Crusade, which is pretty sweet for a Holy Hand Grenade. It deals 3d6 damage as a grenade and then 66 for undead. So all I gotta do is pull the pin. Throw. Boom. Kill undead and rabbits alike. For our general feat, let's get Canny Acumen for reflex saves. For our skill increase, we get Religion up to Master. And for our 3rd doctrine, we get Expert in our deity's preferred weapon, which is the longsword. When you click succeed that attack roll with a weapon, you get the specialization effect for that weapon as well. At the 8th level, get Cremate Dead for when you use a heal spell to damage undead. Each undead that takes damage also takes persistent fire damage equal to the spell's level. So, a 5th level attack deals 5 persistent fire damage, which is great for dealing with undead creatures. For our skill feats, get Oddity Identification to get a +2 bonus to occultism checks to identify magic, with mental, possession prediction, or scrying traits. This plus your assurance means you're going to be rolling crazy high. At the 9th level, we get 5th level spells, and I don't really see anything that really fits Guillermo's character, so keep spamming heal, and if you see anything on the list that you like, pick it. I'm not building your character, I'm building Guillermo. If you want your Guillermo to cast these kind of spells, make him cast these kind of spells. I'm not in charge. Be who you want to be. But if you're building Guillermo, don't use those spells. For our ancestry feat, get Group Aid, so you can aid an ally with a skill check that doesn't have the attack trait. You also aid any ally who does the same check. And it's a free action instead of a reaction. So you can help out people, multiple people in fact, when they're trying to plan a vampire orgy. And you can help them all the same. You also get Resolve at this level. You get a rank and will saves equal to Master. And you roll success, you get a critical success instead. And with our skill increase, we get a Occult up to Master. At the 10th level, you get ability boosts, get Strength, Constitution, Wisdom, and Charisma up. And for our Cleric feat, Align Armament. When you use this action, you can touch a weapon, like say your sword, and for 1 round, that weapon deals an additional 1d6 of damage of your chosen type to a creature of the opposed alignment. So if you choose good, it does 1d6 good damage to evil creatures. But if you choose Align an Armament again, you lose the previous one, so you just can't stack it. But this is really good to just stack on an extra bit of good damage against creatures that have no resistance to it. Get a skill feat Quick Recognition to recognize spells swiftly. Once per round, you can recognize a spell using the skill in which you're a master in as a free action, which is good if you want to recognize creepy vampire stuff. At the 11th level, for we get 6th level spells, and I think Repulsion's great for some holy symbols to ward off undead and keeping them away from your area. And for the 4th doctrine, for your ranks and divine spell attack rolls and DCs increase to expert. And for our general feat, let's get Die Hard to die the dying condition of 5 instead of 4, because I don't really want Guillermo to die. He's one of my favorite characters. He's a good guy. He doesn't deserve Nandor's abuse. You also get Lightning Reflexes. Get a rank increase to reflex saves to expert, but this is useless because it'll have to master at the 17th level. And for our skill increase, we get athletics up to expert. At the 12th level, you get a Cleric feat, get Channeled Succor, Channeled Succor. You get Channeled Succor. You sacrifice one of your heal spells you prepared for an extra slot to cast one of the following spells instead. Remove Curse, remove Disease, remove Paralysis, or Restoration. The spell is heightened at the same level as your heal spell you sacrifice. So basically, you just get these spells and you get to use them whenever you want. Plus, it fits in character of someone who wants to help people all the time. And for our skill feat, let's get Magical Shorthand. You're an expert in a tradition's associated skill. You take 10 minutes per spell level to learn a spell from that tradition instead of the normal hour. I don't know anyone who does these rules, but for 13th level, we get 7th level spells. You get Divine Decree for some classic exorcism Latin chanting. For our Ancestry feat, Witch Warden would be pretty good for some hot single witches in your area. You gain 1 bonus to your saving throws against curses and to saving throws against spells cast by a witch or a hag. If you roll a success against the saving throw, it's a critical success instead, which is really good when you want to keep people from taking, your stuff and selling it. Anyone who's seen this show knows what I'm talking about. It's really gross. Get Divine Defense to increase our rank in our armors up to Expert, and get a skill increase because of Athletics up to Master. We also get Weapon Specialization, finally. You get to deal 2 extra damage with your weapons, which you're Expert in, or plus 3 with your sword because you're a Master in it. At the 14th level, get a Cleric feat. Fast Channel, when you cast Harm or Heal by spending 2 actions, you get the effects of a 3-action version instead of the 2-action version. So you could pop off a heal, damage an undead, and then strike them with a sword for fun. Get a skill feat, get Quick Climb for climbing. You move 5 feet up on a success and 10 more on a critical success to your maximum speed. Personally, I think this is just good for a quick climbing, plus he has that gag where he just climbs up that ladder really fast. That's my justification for that pick. At the 15th level, you get 8th level spells, and I think Divine Aura is good for some Catholic shielding. And you get ability score and boosts. You'll get Strength, Constitution, Wisdom, and Charisma up. And for our 5th Doctrine, let's get your rank and fortitude saves up to Master. When you roll a success, you get a critical success instead. And for our general feat, let's get Canny Acumen to get Perception up to Master at the 17th level. And for our skill increase, let's get Religion up to Legendary. At the 16th level, let's get Eternal Blessing. You're continuously surrounded by the Bless spell of a level equal to half your level rounded up. The radius is 15 feet and you can increase it. You can dismiss the spell, but if you do, it comes back after 1 minute. So with this, you're going to have pretty much a solid bonus to all your stuff based on half your level, which is really good. And for the skill feat, Rapid Mantle to grab onto an edge. If you pull yourself onto that surface and stand, you can use Athletics instead of a Reflex save to grab the edge. I'm at a loss with what to do with these skill feats. I just picked this because I don't really have any other use for skill feats at the moment. If you have any suggestions on what to do with skill feats, let me know. I'm really at a loss what to do with them most of the time. At the 17th level, you get a 9th level spell, but honestly, I'm not a big fan of any of them for Guillermo. Keep casting Heal up to that level. Or if you're not playing Guillermo to his character, just pick whatever spells you want. They all look fun. We get an Ancestry feat at this level, get Heroic Presence. You grant 10 willing creatures to within 30 feet of the effects. The 6th level, Zealous Conviction. So this is good for Nandor, Laszlo, Nadja, Colin Robinson, Jesk, Armand, Van Helsing, Blade, the guy from Big Mouth, all those vampires. Except for Van Helsing. You also get an increase in Cult up to Legendary at this level. At the 18th level, get the Cleric Resurrectionist. You can restore hit points to a dying creature or bring back a dead creature to life and restore hit points to it. And you grant the creature 5 healing for 1 minute. And this ends if the creature is knocked out again. But you get to bring people back from the dead, and I think that's really important when you're dealing with people who are always dead. For a skill feat, you get Divine Guidance. You spend 10 minutes deciphering writing of religious scriptures, of your deity or philosophy. And when you think about a certain problem or conundrum, and you attempt a religion check, and you unearth a relevant passage or parable about it. You're going to need a GM who's willing to help you with that, because if you have a DM who doesn't want to give you anything, they're not going to give you anything. Which sucks, but you know what? That's just life. That's life. And for our 19th level, we get our Final Doctrine. Our ranks and Divine Spell rolls increase up to Master. And for our General feat, Incredible Initiative to get +2 bonus to our initiative rolls. Guillermo's kind of slow. We didn't really focus on Dexterity. So Perception is going to be the way to go when you want to roll initiative. We also get Miraculous Spell. You get a single 10th level spell slot, and you can prepare a spell in it using Divine Spell Casting. I say pick Miracle and just go pretty much nuts with that. That sounds like fun. And for our skill increase, get Athletics up to Legendary to be a bona fide Vampire Slayer. At the 20th level, we get ability boosts. Dexterity this time instead of strength, because it'll be a weird 19, and I hate uneven numbers. Constitution, Wisdom, and Charisma to round off all those other ability scores. I say at the 20th level, we get Mom, or Maker of Miracles. You gain a 10th level spell slot. And for a skill feat, Bizarre Magic. DCs to recognize the spells you cast, you use increase by 5. So if you use some crazy Catholic magic, people are not going to recognize it. Now, with all that being said, do you want to be a Vampire's Familiar? You shouldn't want to be a Vampire's Familiar, but Guillermo certainly does, and you should want to be like Guillermo. Let's start with being a master of pretty much all the saves and perception, meaning Guillermo's pretty decent at dealing with any kinds of conditions being thrown his way. Plus, you're a really good vampire hunter. Without an equal, pretty much, being a devastating holy warrior, sending out waves of holy damage as well as melee strikes with the Alliant armament and smite that could end up dealing 1d6 plus 1d8 plus 6 plus 90 d10 damage by spending a healing font to an undead creature. Which means Guillermo has a chance of dealing damage between the 16 and 110 rage. God damn! That's not including all the out-of-character spells you get to cast by spending your spell slots in them. But if you choose heal, you're going to be putting in the hurt. Plus, you're an amazing support character with high charisma and lots of great aiding boosts to your party, as well as just being a general nice character depending on how you play, as well as lots of heals to keep everyone up in the fight. At the end of the day, you're Guillermo de la Cruz, the best chance of dealing with the Vampire Council, and probably not becoming a vampire anytime soon. So, load up some stakes, grab your crossbow, and pray to Holy God that you are ready to fight. Sure, you might not be Armand from Interview with a Vampire and be a Hispanic vampire like Antonio Banderas. Maybe instead you'll be a sweet marshmallow who's also a big badass, like Puss in Boots, like Antonio Banderas. Thank you for checking out this video. I hope everyone enjoyed. I was really surprised when I was like, I want to build Guillermo, but how do I build Guillermo? And I figured it out. I want to make more unorthodox builds like this because I think it's super fun to kind of push characters out to their limits. I was thinking about how I would make Walter White in Pathfinder 2e. Anyways, have a good day.